You can forget trying to regain your powers, Tommy. The Dragonzord now answers to me. Hey guys, right here, and today we are back with What If Richie Worked for Lord Zedd? Part 2. And we are carrying on right where we left off the previous part. Yes, Green Ranger has been stripped of his powers, and it has been transferred, more or less, given to Richie, who, for the purposes of this story, was actually a creation from Zedd, sent to spy, infiltrate, and ultimately destroy the Power Rangers once they got Green Ranger out of the way. And with the Rangers realizing that the enemy is Richie, yes, this does cause some hesitation towards the Rangers, because as far as they knew, Richie was their good buddy. Much like what they went through back when Tommy was the evil Green Ranger. It's like reliving that, but only worse, because this guy, this Richie, is a creation completely born of evil. There's no turning good here. No. We've nibbed that in the bud. And well, as day-to-day life went on with the Power Rangers, old Richie was there to make life as miserable for the Rangers as they can, causing as much trouble as he can in school and all that, and knowing full well that the Rangers can't do anything about it, because if they do, that means exposing their identities and losing the protection of the power, as Zordon puts it. And well, it definitely upsets Trini most of all, who, as we know from the series, had a bit of a crush on Richie. And well, meanwhile, Lord Zedd is getting ready to put his next plan into motion, while the Rangers will be busy fending off a monster. Richie, AKA Zedd Ranger, his job is to pretty much capture Tommy. Because remember, Zedd did want to bring Tommy back in the fold and have him working for him. Now, Zedd Ranger, aka Richie, agrees to do this for Lord Zedd. However, he's got his own sort of plan in mind. Richie does not like the idea of being replaced, you see, so as he's brought before Tommy, he is full on attacking Tommy with the intent to kill him. And he just might be able to now that he has Tommy's Green Ranger coin, and Tommy do not. Of course, his Ranger form has been altered. He's now a Purple Ranger, and has certain abilities that Lord Zedd has, thanks to Lord Zedd's alterations. And considering that Richie is created from not only Zedd's DNA, but the other Rangers as well, who have been in and out of the Dark Dimension. And, well, with the Rangers distracted by Lord Zedd's current monster, they're obviously unable to help Tommy. And, well, this is where Richie attempts to call the Dragonzord. Same dagger, same way the Green Ranger would, blowing in that flute dagger. And, well, for some reason, the dragon is not really responding. It takes a couple of attempts on the whistle for Zedd Ranger to call Dragonzord, and Dragonzord to come out. But why is it not really wanting to seem to respond to Richie's call? Because, for one thing, you got to remember the Zords are also life forms, kind of like the Zoids from the TV show Zoids. At least that's how I've always interpreted the Zords. They're machines, yes, but they're living as well. They're sentient enough to know who their masters are and whatnot. And Dragonzord can tell that this isn't Tommy calling him. And he can tell this being that's calling him is evil, but because he's linked to that dagger, Dragonzord ultimately doesn't have a choice but to obey him. However, he's definitely taken his time getting there, and Tommy takes advantage of this to get a few kicks and punches in on Zedd Ranger, distracting, getting the better of him. Oh, forget Dragonzord then! He then summons up Zedd's staff and electrocutes Tommy with it. And my orders were to bring you in alive. But you know what? I'm thinking you're more useful to me dead. Your time is done. And just as he's about to deliver a fatal shock and destroy Tommy, luckily he's teleported away by Alpha 5 and Zordon, who are now beginning their plans to create a new Ranger, to transform Tommy into the White Ranger. And well, Zedd Ranger decides to join the other monster on the battlefield, and this is where Zedd makes said monster grow. It doesn't matter which monster it is, it's a new timeline. Use your imagination. Imagine your own monster. Because it doesn't really matter, it ends the same way. And well, Richie once again attempts to call in the Dragonzord, which actually does work this time, but again you can tell Dragonzord is trying to resist the orders as he's ordering them to attack the Rangers. Man, we're in trouble here! We need Thunderzord power now! And as the Zords begin to approach and the sequence to turn into the Thunderzord begins, this is where Richie reveals his secret ability. Something I was trying to keep under wraps from the previous part. He simply waves his hand and all the Zords stop in their tracks and retreat. DB Rye, what exactly is this? How is he able to do that? Remember, he was created from energy and DNA from all the other Rangers. In other words, he's got their particular Power Ranger energy signatures. So, in other words, he can stop their Zords from functioning. So, 2 giant monsters, 5 puny Power Rangers. Things are beginning to look very grim for our heroes indeed, but luckily, this is where Zordon and Alpha are now ready to unveil their new project as Tommy the White Ranger is set, along with his new Tiger Zord. And, well, this is certainly not what the good guys had in mind, as White Ranger and his new talking sword, Saba, convert into warrior mode, and he's able to do battle against Dragonzord and the opposing monster. One blast from the warrior mode Tiger Zord, the monster is destroyed, and Tommy is heartbroken that he has to battle with his own old Zord, the Dragonzord. And, well, things aren't looking good for Richie at this point because Dragonzord is still resisting its orders. And, well, essentially, Zedd Ranger is forced to retreat, and Dragonzord returns to his resting spot. And luckily, the Rangers are saved and are just relieved to see that their new ally is none other than Tommy himself. But DB Wright couldn't Couldn't Richie stop Tigerzord like he did with the other Zords? I'm glad you asked that question. As it turns out, no, because the White Ranger is he's a new ranger, a new energy source. An energy source Richie doesn't have. So no, he cannot switch off Tigerzord. So now, finally, there is some equal footing. And this, I feel, is a good spot to leave things for right now. So, what do you guys think? Did you enjoy this part of the story? Are we going to get White Ranger versus Zedd Ranger in part 3? Yeah, probably. And will Zedd Ranger figure out a way to bring Dragonzord fully under his control? All this and more next time as we continue.